Get started here shortly. What's going on? What's going on? What is going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Saturday. We're gonna go ahead and hop right into this one. We're making another EDM track this time. I had to do some prep work beforehand because otherwise it would just be 45 minutes of me listening to this over and over again. Some of these loops don't come with transcriptions, and my ear training skills are not the best. I'm working on them, but take forever to figure out what some of these melodies are. At least we started with what the key was. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. I put the links in the chat on Twitter, Instagram, and check out my website. And you can also check out my YouTube channel. I think every single one of these videos, I should be able to upload it to YouTube afterwards. That's the goal. This is my first time doing this on Twitch. I have a few streams on YouTube already, so hoping to do some music every Saturday, basically. So make sure you guys tune in. It's usually every Saturday at 6 Central, 7 Eastern. I have no idea what that is in Greenwich Mean Time. I apologize. I think it's like 12 Zulu, maybe. 12 a.m. Zulu. I don't know. Something like that. Let's go into this. This is the loop for tonight that we're going to use. As you can see, I have two stems, and then I have the main one. The main one came with both of them together, but we wanted to separate them because that's how intros are built. You start out with something like this. You know, something kind of cool like that. I think I already have a melody instrument kind of picked out just because I had to transcribe this. I think what I'm gonna do is kind of start with a synth bass. We'll get to the drums and everything in a second. We're gonna start somewhere though. Look at the melody again. Oops, wrong one. Just copy that down. I like the sound of this one. We'll go through. I'll just put this on a loop and then kind of go through with different sounds. That's... maybe it's a little too high. Maybe we'll pick a different one. Some of these are fun. This is usually my go-to right here. It's called Deep Wave. Oops. You can hear why. I love the texture there, honestly. This one's another popular one right here. But that's like super strong. It's like if you're using the bass instrument as the lead. Some of these are like okay, you know, interesting. That one's a bit soft around the edges. I still want something that kind of cuts through, so I think we're gonna go with the first one. And it's actually gonna be the bass line that I worked out, not even this. So maybe that's too long for an intro. Oh wow, that is way too high. Let's move that down. Probably probably one more. Yeah, that's what we're talking about right there. It's there. Maybe we will move it up, back up to where it originally was. We'll just drop it down. I honestly have one more bass I could probably try to use. This one is kind of a sub bass. It might work better with these octaves. That's not what I wanted. There we go. So let's try that one out real quick. Let's see, the lowest note is that B flat right there. That's still pretty strong. It's a sub bass, so it's kind of made for this. So what we do is we'll take this an octave below, and this will serve as the sub essentially, while this first bass right here serves as kind of the texture. And like together you have to do some cutting of frequencies. So what I'll probably do is for this synth bass right here, I will just cut everything at about 80-ish, 80 to 100-ish. That's about sub. Right there. I may even like think about adding some bells in later, but we'll get down the road to that, you know. And we're gonna start with just that melody right here. I think if I had some better instruments, I could probably find something that would mimic this. Honestly, we'll see. Let's look at some chords. I might be able to mimic it, and so essentially what we'll do is these are the chords. So this would be tricky. It'd be a little bit time consuming, but essentially what we're gonna do is take the chords or the root to the chord at least, and basically for every time it sustains, instead of making a sustain, we're gonna make it do 16th notes, which is essentially what it does. Oh, come on, don't be difficult. It's being difficult, of course, and I think that's not even the right. Yeah, that's quarter notes. That's funny. This is why I do all the prep work that I do, because you just hear the same chord over and over again while I do this, and it's annoying. And if you're not here for the long haul, you kind of want to hear the finished product, and so I have to do all of this editing. And when I upload the video later, you can probably just be able to jump around. But in case you've ever been curious about what it really takes to be a music producer, and since it doesn't, we'll take out the last beat. So it's actually, we'll do this. And then the other thing that we can do is go open up to functions and randomize the velocity of this. And what that'll essentially do is make it not sound so like repetitive, like it's just poking your eardrums. Still kind of sounds like that, so let's give it some more range. I did 80 to 100. Let's do 60 to 100. If you're curious about that, I can get the whole lesson on binary and how it works with MIDI, but for the time being, we will just move right along. So this is kind of how it, oops, I think it's, yeah, it is. It's a little bit off. Actually, it wasn't. I think, yeah, there it goes. Yeah, so that sounds really cool right there. So what we're gonna do is basically just essentially copy this down since we've already done it once. Work smarter, not harder. Copy it down and then move it to the pitch that it needs to go to. And I already forgot what the note was. The note is E flat. It needs to be on E flat. It's probably a better bet to remember that it's B flat. Unlike I'm doing. So this needs to move down to B flat. And essentially, all that we're doing is adding another layer of texture to the chords so that we have some room to build things. And what that'll do in the long run is um, every single time that we get to a verse or a chorus or whatever, we have a choice of elements to drop out to make it sound pretty cool. So I'm gonna do this. It's that one right there. And I'm gonna play some music in the background so you don't have to hear this over and over again. This is a song that I actually made. Let me know what you guys think of it. It's a cool little song I've been working on. I think it's almost ready to be released. So there's a little sneak peek at it. So essentially, what we have now that we've put the loop together is kind of this. And I'll solo the two top layers so you can kind of hear how they go together. That's without it. This is with it. And what I can even look at doing is essentially adjusting the octave that it's in. Since it's a kind of low octave right now, we'll see what it sounds like in the higher octave. So that sounds, it's got some more texture to it now. Add in the melody back in. And then now you've got, somewhere to go from there. So then I bring in the sub and the synth. I think we can work on drums from here. I think I'm gonna kind of stick with that 4x4 pattern, or four on the floor as it's commonly referred to. Essentially just means the kick hits on every quarter note. And it kind of helps keep the idea is that you're switching it up from your traditional kick on 1 and 3. So boom, clap, boom, clap. You just kind of got that. It's been done for ages. Nope, I'm hardly the first to do it. But at least in this context, I think it's going to work. Now I just got to find the kick because I pretty much use similar kicks. Um, like from stream to stream. I mean, like I might end up using a kick that everybody's already heard. So it's whatever. I think it was Igor Stravinsky that said, "Great artists do not steal; they imitate, or they don't imitate; they steal." I think that's what the which I don't condone that at all. Copyright infringement, please do not take that as what I mean, but it's just what somebody else makes might inspire you in what you make. So that was the main point there. Um, yeah, so I'm kind of feeling that a little bit. We'll see how that works. My phone is just going off right now. I think I need to. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I just got a new phone. I just upgraded, so all of the settings are all wackadoodle now, and I gotta figure that out at a different time. Back to the song. By the way, this one's gonna be called Proper Introduction. I'm not even lying to you. I sat there for about the last hour. I kind of had this all prepped about 4 hours ago. And I sat there for the last hour just trying to think of the name for the song, and that's probably the most challenging part of making music is coming up with a name. So you got your intro. Got those cool staccato chords. And then right there will be kind of where we start our break, if that's how you wanna your breakdowns. Yeah, in EDM it's kind of called the breakdown, and it's kind of where you've started this build and then you fall again so that you can build it up, and then hit the drop. And I don't want to be too repetitive, so I'm gonna switch the instruments that I use as the melody. I may like automate this so it's slightly in the background, but essentially it's going to be um it's gonna be a different instrument pretty much. And I may take out the chords because they're kind of overwhelming. So the drop kind of goes into like this. And I can even automate some stuff so that it kind of sweeps into this. That is not the lead I had picked out. I think, yeah, the computer just slightly glitched. If I remember what it's called, which I definitely don't, I can find it really fast, or I can just. I'll take this as a sign to pick a new one. Yeah, some of these are just super wacky. Might have been that one. Nope. They're all pretty cool. They are not what I want. So. Yeah, I think I've used that one before. Like that one. That one sounds pretty cool. I think I will layer that with something though. And by the way, I divide these loops by sections, so I know where a new one starts. So anything that's looped, like this this, I can't really point it out to you, but it's just hard to tell, but you can tell that it's looped. I'm definitely gonna take out the chords then. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a clap real quick. I have a good idea for a clap that I want. This is one of my go-to ones. Right here, because then what I do is I put a spreader on it and it sounds super spacey. So throw something for a little bit of a loop there, because I got another clap that I'll layer on top with it, and then that one will keep the pulse all the way. So you'll hear what it sounds like. It's this it's a plugin called Wider by Infected Mushroom. I would highly recommend, if you have not gotten it and you are a music producer out there, would highly recommend getting it. It sounds super cool. If you're listening in earbuds, you'll be able to hear the difference. And then the other clap is actually from a little the one I'm thinking of, at least. See, and the benefit that I have right now is that I know what's going on in my head and you don't, unfortunately. And the reason I know that is because I've used stuff before. So when I'm listening to the beat as it goes on and as it's being built, then I've heard just about every single sample or whatever that I have, and so I immediately think, oh, it's gonna be that one. It's not that one. It's not 100%. It works most of the time. Ooh, gosh. Some of these are just super wacky too. I think nope. I think it was this one. Yeah. So this one that I just brought in is a little bit stronger, and essentially what we're gonna have is this one kind of keeping the pulse as well layered in there, but then unlike the other one, it's just gonna keep the pulse the whole time. It's gonna sound pretty trippy, and what it's gonna do essentially, at least when I solo it, what it's gonna do is help build the anticipation. The specific part I'm talking about is this part right here. This is kind of, and then it gets even wackier if I had panned them, but since I'm spreading one, I'm just gonna leave them in the center. I think I need to choose a better clap. This one isn't as good as I thought it was going to, so we will pick another one, and we'll just pick one of the ones we always go with. No shame in that. Like I said before, you guys can definitely see all of the previous streams I've done. I've done them on YouTube. So if you just go to YouTube, and then it's the same handle as the Twitch handle. I think I'm gonna switch to using Twitch. There's just a lot more you can do as far as live streaming, and I think there's just a stronger streaming community on Twitch. So I will be on Twitch streaming. It's usually every Saturday, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. And if you are across the Atlantic, I'm sorry, I have no idea what time that is. I believe it's 12 a.m., like Zulu time, I think. That's my best guess. I promise I went to school. I promise I'm smart, but, it happens. But yeah, so every Saturday you guys can tune in, and I'll be doing something new, but it's always going to revolve around music production, just kind of seeing what I do for a living. And actually what I'm going to do is drop it for the first part. So you're going to hear just this clap, and then I'm going to do something. I'm going to put some reverb on it. Not that much reverb. Just because helps fill some of the spaces. And this is just when it's by itself. In context, it sounds a lot better. Because then what happens is you got this. So it sounds pretty cool. And it's a complete switch up from what we had before. So here's what we had so far. If you guys are tuned in and you have an account on Twitch, some of you may not, make sure you send a message in the chat, say what's up, say hey, I want to see how y'all are doing today. So the next thing we're going to do is add kind of a reverse effect. There's a really simple way to do this, and that's just to import something that's already been made for you. And there's also a more long-winded way, which maybe one of these days I'll be able to show you. But I'd have to open up a whole completely other software for it. And it's a particularly taxing software on the computer. So in the interest of time and everything, I'm just going to take the easy way out. I don't normally do that. I promise I don't. I'm a hard worker. Anyway, the reverse effect just helps build up. Usually what ends up happening is you put something, a lot of reverb on like a hit or something, like if it's a knock, if it's a snare, if it's whatever, you put a lot of reverb on it. You bounce out that, and then if you're in Pro Tools, you can go into Audio Suite and hit reverse, and then it just sounds really cool because all that reverb then goes to the beginning and it just leads into the initial hit, and it just sounds cool. So you get something like this. That little thing, it was kind of quiet. I think what we're actually going to do is make these 16ths instead of just eighths. So you basically hear this, and I think maybe it might make it more interesting. Who knows? Come on, cooperate. But both of them got to be 16s. So go back to this one. It's a lot of work. It is. And if you've ever wondered what it is DJs do, when we perform, we press play, but what we're pressing play on took us days, weeks, months to do. So if you're ever curious about that, quiet that down a little bit. Open it up, the automation menu, and bring that down just a hair. And then these ones can be louder. There you go. Sounds a real smooth transition now. And we'll bring in like a louder, more EDM type snare. I think actually what we might want to do is bring the claps over, so when we're leading into this big melody kind of thing, it's right there is our snare drum. And I have used a few of them. Gotta remember what it's called. I think it's this one right here. It's a process, hang on. Oh, you know what? That's what's happening. You need to go bye-byes. Yeah. Okay. I don't know Logic was doing that. Let's retry that again. Make that like 1,000 times louder, and then add some reverb, and then even add like a little I call it a little kick into. It's a fill, but it's a soft fill, and it's a lead in to the next section of bars. So it's real kind of quiet in the background. You can't necessarily hear it. Maybe you can. Hang on, let me, and then I will add the reverb onto it as well. And essentially what you get is every EDM snare ever, which isn't very original, but there's only so much you can do. So, all together you hear. And then what I can kind of do with some other stuff to kind of build the anticipation more is it's called a frequency sweep, and essentially what I'm doing is I'm automating the EQ on some of these instruments to car going by, to basically sweep the entire spectrum. Simply put, there's a little band on the low end, and I'm cutting off all the low end, and I'm going to slowly increase the frequency that it's at, and that way I'm cutting off more and more and more low end, and there's no other way I can really describe it, so I will just do it and then just show you. And if you have any questions also on what terminology means, please let me know. I will absolutely just put it in the chat. I will absolutely explain, because I don't want people to be curious about something and then never get their question answered. So here's kind of what it sounds like. Whoops. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, hang on. I definitely just automated the wrong, there we go. Band 1, we want the frequency, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, my bad. I was automating the wrong band, or the wrong plugin, excuse me. So, I'm using a FabFilter Q3, which costs about $200, but it's worth it. And you can start to hear, as the low end gets taken out, it kind of feels like it's swelling, and the anticipation is building. I think I built it too fast. And this works for any instrument that you do. It'll depend, obviously, on what that instrument's frequency spectrum is, but you can see how it's going up. It's kind of sweeping up. And then it's back to normal. So, in context, What I'm doing right now is I'm adding a compressor to the effect, the sweeping effect that you hear. Mainly because I don't like how loud it is, or excuse, how high the volume is, and how quiet it is. Still, as a result, so it gives me more headroom. And I think I like the way that sweep is that or sweep that little fill that I made is. So essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a kick to it, and the kick will do nothing other than add something a little bit different and add some thump to. We'll call it a fill for right now. So what you have is, you know, and I think what we can do is, and see, the problem that I think every engineer kind of has, or every producer has, and every DJ has, is I can hear the rest of the song in my head, and it takes a lot of work to get it there on the computer, and then by the time I've done all that work, I lost the idea, and so it's just like, what's going on? Thought we said that we were taking that out. Um, did I? Yes, I did. So I'm muted for right now. And what I've also done, as you probably heard, was I started taking stuff off at the end because I'm building towards something happening at the end there. So the bass is also probably going to have to come off, both basses, because I got a sub and a synth. And like I said before, the synth is primarily for texture, and the sub is just there for a little. If you've ever been to a electronic music festival, I really hope they come back soon, but we'll see what happens. Then you've heard the absolute thump that every DJ loves to do. I'm gonna do a very similar sweep to the one that I just did, but this time I'm going to put it on the melody that you heard. That I'm not a singer. Excuse me. I like that kind of little lead in, but essentially what you're gonna hear is it's gonna slowly sweep up. So probably a little something like this. It's gonna be back, obviously, as you heard for that part. I gotta bring this closer to where it comes back though, so it doesn't come back too early. And I think we can increase it just a hair, and then we can probably also stretch it out a little bit. In other words, use the full amount of time I have until that section comes to build. We might revisit this in a sense that I may take all this stuff and move it down and then add a whole another measure of building, but that's subject to change. There's another synth I think I want to add to the drop, in addition to the one I already have. I know it well. I've used it a couple times. It sounds great. I think what we're gonna do is actually we want to do that again, and not copy the automation because I don't want that one. I want to see what octave it sounds better. Yeah, I like that one. And actually, I definitely just messed it up. There it goes. So this will kind of be some sprinkles on top, basically, of the ice cream that we have, which is this whole song. In addition to the melody that we just had. So that sounds super cool, right? Yeah, exactly. It's just missing some drums, I think. I think everything's got a cut out right there. Something ain't right. Hang on. Come on now. Yeah, I think I wanted to come back in right there. And actually, I may take out some of those notes. So I'm going to fix the automation again then. Maybe not as extreme. Let us fix the volume on this, volume automation on this as well, so that it doesn't sound so weird. Because I want things to drop out pretty much right there, but then come back in. So essentially, you have what kind of sounds like this. Let's line everything up exactly. Come on. Difficult. Right, like that, and then maybe I need to again adjust the automation. It's just one of those things where you just kind of have to listen and keep on going back to it and figure out what you like, what sounds good, what sounds bad, and fix everything. And it's so that's kind of what it sounds like. I don't know what happened on the kicks here. Hang on. Oh, that's what happened. I copied over a double one, so we're just gonna. There it is. That's what we wanted this whole time. So we started from here, and then look where we're ending up, and that's pretty cool right there. Definitely a lot of mixing needs to be done to this. I think I for sure would like to move this all back. Move it because I need that. I just need that to go on for so much longer than it did. Um, it just sounds a lot better if it does. So, and then I'll show you what we do. Um, Essentially, to make this even go longer, I'll extend the loop as far as I need to. But I kind of break it right there because then what ends up happening is, and what's going on there? Is it not all the way? Oh, it's not. That's right. Okay. It's probably easier to just delete notes instead of cut the loop short like that. Essentially, what's going to happen is all of these notes that are quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, are now are going to become. Come on! Don't be difficult. Eighth notes, and then they'll become 16th notes, and I'll do the same frequency sweep I do on there, on the on the other ones, to basically just to give it another level of complexity, because why not make things more complicated than they have to be, right? And right there is where come on, bro. This one's the last one, so all of these will be deleted. So it kind of suspends. That can be taken out. Honestly, what I might even do is I might make every other note. I might, yeah, here's what I'll do. I will vary up the velocity there because otherwise it just sounds really annoying and repetitive and whatever. And then I will make the secondary notes quieter than the main notes. So what it looks like is I've got to do this, and it's going to be super complex, but this is the manipulation stuff that we go through. And there's probably some easier ways to do this, and if you know it, let me know, because I do not like wasting my time. But the main way to do this, first of all, is I have what I have here, and then I will copy it and paste it where it's supposed to, and since all those are now highlighted, I can go around. It's, yeah. Welcome to Logic. I'll do 60 to 70. We'll see what that sounds like. That's kind of what it sounds like right there. Jesus. Hope I didn't blow anybody's ears out. I just blew out mine. Stupid software. I think what I might do is I don't yeah. It becomes kind of complicated because right now I think what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make it eighth notes for last time so it doesn't just rub everybody's ears out. And then I'll just extend this one more so you've got. And that's where I'll start. When it does the 16th notes is where I will start the loop or the sweep that I was telling you about. So it's just literally the same thing as everything else, except with a snare, the frequencies are a lot different. So the sweep might not look the same, might not be as severe, because it doesn't need to be. There's very little. Oops, that's volume. There's very little required, basically, to do the same effect. So we're gonna have to see, because. A little bit more severe. We'll keep it kind of down there, and then wait, where does it start? Right there. Okay, my bad. Yeah, it needs to be up here, and then this. Yep. All right. And then what we'll also do is add another riser effect later on. And we're not even going to sweep it into the thing. Into the drop, into the thing. We're going to sweep it into that little break. So this way it's kind of like everybody hears it and they're expecting the drop to come, and then, oh, wait a second. Oh, now it comes. So it sounds pretty dope so far. We're about an hour into the stream here. I know a lot of people aren't used to hearing music for an hour long, especially at this process. But we're gonna keep going for another 30 minutes maybe. If you're still with us, awesome. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your support. Gonna keep going. We're gonna try to make this drop. Let me know what you guys think. Please do hit me up on social media, Instagram, Twitter, my website. I think we're also going to do is move these kicks back so that there's a little bit of variation. Move them a little bit more. Here we go. Yeah. Just so you can kind of tell where the beginning and the end and whatever is, and it's not super repetitive. We're also going to add this melody back into the drop, so it's not... And the cool part is, since that's just layered in there this time, it's not the same as if it was in the verse. Next, we definitely have to add more drums. I am the drum guru. I should be having way more drums in this. But I think I was just on a roll with the melody, so we just kept going with it. But right now we're going to add some drums in. I'm not quite sure. I think we're gonna keep with the 4x4, four on the floor pattern. I think that seems to be working pretty well. Um, I think what I gotta do is I gotta figure out a way to put some more click on it, and then in mixing, what we'll do is something called side chaining, and I can't do it in Logic, but I can do it uh, in Pro Tools. And so when I get to the mixing stage, you do side chaining, and essentially what side chaining is every time the kick hits, everything else gets a little bit quieter, but only for when the kick hits. So you've kind of got that's kind of where the doom thing comes from, because the drums come in and everything kind of gives way just for like a tiny millisecond while the drums hit, and then um, they're back in, and it's a really cool effect. Um, and why are all of these automation points in? Whatever. Um, it's a really cool effect, and I challenge you to listen for it in music that is out today. But as far as tonight, I cannot show it to you, because there's really no good way to do it. There's a way to do it in Logic, but I don't have the right tools to do it well, and I'm not going to do it terribly, because there's just no point in that. Um, so eventually, that will be included, and I will for sure do a demonstration on how to do that. I realized there was a much easier way of limiting all those points than doing it each and every one. We're gonna increase it though because I think it's gonna be too quiet. Now the other thing I gotta look at. We're gonna duplicate this channel. Snare 2 is having a different kind of snare, and then we'll just layer this one in the background. There's a lot of adjustments that go as well after when the cameras are off and you don't see it. Just a lot of stuff that I can probably explain in the future when everything's done, and then just go back and do a quick video and show you what I did. But for the time being, the adjustments got to be made like at a later date. So not everything you hear in this stream will sound this way in the final product. And I'm saying that right now because the snare is one of them. Most likely, definitely will have changes to it. So, what we'll do is, yeah, I'll probably just end up showing you at a later date what it looks like. But for the time being, we'll just kind of work with what we got. We're gonna add some fills here. We'll do that one, and this one will be the more simplistic. So, oops, that's the wrong subdivision. These need to be right here, and these need to scoot up. So you've got, and I think this needs to be increased, and then increase there. Yep. Sounds like trash, but again, it will be fixed later. One of the things that Pro Tools has that Logic does not, is clip editing, and that's one of the reasons I love to use Pro Tools when I mix, because I can cut each of these down into specific clips and then edit those so that those clips, and I can do it a lot faster and more efficiently than I can right now. Because every clip needs its own attention. Certain things need to be louder here or softer here, and that doesn't always necessarily happen right at the creation process. So, it's always good to have something like Pro Tools in your back pocket. You need to quiet those down so we'll velocity manage them and bring them all the way down to like 60 will work. Probably change the kick pattern up too. Really, what could happen is I could totally like open this up and then throw in hats and do all this kind of wild percussion, and I'll get to that point eventually. Probably, maybe not tonight. Because what I like to do and what I think every musician should do is, when you're making something, you don't need to have it all done the first day. Even if you finish it all the first day, sleep on it, and then come back to it the next day with fresh ears and make your adjustments that you need to make. Yeah, that works there, I guess. Yeah, that works there. Yeah, we'll see. We shall certainly see. Doing one of the most hated things about audio right now we're taking care of, which is the fact that in audio, especially with kicks and low frequency instruments, if the waveform that you see when I zoom in is interrupted, it clicks or it clips and pops in the software. And that's not good. So what we have to go in and do is cut it off at a point where the waveform reaches 0, and then there's no clipping and popping, because technically there is no waveform. Kind of works. We'll build on it later, I guess. Alright, so here's what we have so far, all the way from the beginning, and then it's just crazy to see how it kind of develops throughout the process. And this has been an hour and 6 minutes, so if you're still watching, you're a trooper. I love you very much. I appreciate you. Sounds kind of haunting. The other thing about it, mixing, is working on each individual sound until it sonically sounds good. Yeah, that needs to be fixed. That drop does not sound good like that at all. It needs to be adjusted. It needs to be finagled. It needs some work. I think what we're also going to do is... What is that? What we're also going to do is add in some bells. Bells are my go-to almost always. I always have them, just because they operate such a very different part of the spectrum. of sounds than you hear normally. Um, they're all the way up at the top, and normally you hear, middle stuff. I mean, people talk on average around 500 to 800 hertz, which is low considering you can hear all the way up to 20,000 hertz usually. But it's uh, maybe. Yeah, I like that. That works. It's got a little bit of a darker undertone to it. Anyway, sorry. People talk, at the lower middle end of the spectrum, and bells are like 10 times higher than that. So it just sounds kind of cool when you have them on there. Going to cut off a lot of the stuff. We're cutting a bit of the body off so it doesn't compete with the bass and the rest of the synth. So you've got this. Yeah, that those drums need some work. Need a lot of work. Actually, I don't even think that's gonna be the original pattern I keep them at. I kind of gotta just feel. And what I do is I don't even think about it. I think about it mathematically sometimes, but mainly what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, I'm listening, I'm listening. What do I feel like should come next? I don't even know yet, honestly. I might have an idea actually. We'll try and input this real quick, and then we'll call it a night for the stream. Yeah, I want to erase. I gotta erase a lot of these, so it's gonna be. First things first. These guys right here, all of them, all of them have to be switched, because we're gonna do this in halftime. And the difference between halftime and double time is, um, essentially how long goes like how many times a measure something hits. So if I'm feeling it in regular time, which was exactly what we just felt it in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Halftime would be basically cut everything in half. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and then the two. What normally serve is the 2 and 4 for like pulse and everything is now, um, like measure 3 is now or sorry, beat 3 and beat 1 are now like two different things. So essentially, you normally have your kick on 1 and 3 and your snare on 2 and 4. Now you have your kick on 1 and your snare on 3. And what it all it does is it really just kind of opens things up. So like, you've got a lot of people. It's I'll weird, but I'll use this comparison when you do like head banging, when you nod your head to the beat. You nod your head on every quarter note is regular time, and then when you nod your head on every half note, which is kind of like that extra pause, that's halftime. That's how you feel it. So we're gonna edit these. kind of see what we're feeling. We'll see. See what these sound like right here. We'll add in a double here. And then we'll do this. Gotta hear that in context. Hang on. Also needs to be. Let's do this. Drums are instinct for me. I've been playing drums for 16 years. So just as far as like what I decide, the drum should hit or what should hit here, what should I play there, it's instinct. It's whatever I feel like should happen. And I'm trusting the musical instinct I've had for 16 years now to kick in and give me some good ideas, because basic music is fine, but sometimes you want something more interesting. And in this case, it's exactly what we want, because the melody and the chords are all open and spacey. So we kind of want something in the drums maybe to fill in those holes. Da, 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 those holes in between that. So I kind of like that. First things first, we gotta give this some boost. It's getting there. It's getting there, and I think we can just repeat that one, and we'll do variations of it. So it'll sound like this. And then now that we have the first half kind of set, what we'll do is we will let me add one more variation. This is like super detailed, super nuanced. So the only reason for me to do this is because I'm persnickety about some of my choices. So unless you're like absolutely anal, for lack of a better term, about it, you don't even need to worry as much about it. But I'm like, ear candy here, ear candy there. We want stuff to trip people, to trick people's ears into not hearing what they've always been hearing for the last 2 minutes. Right, you guys need to be adjusted as well. And then comes the next step, hats that we want to add, and I have a pretty good one here. Oops. Yeah, there it is. We can get rid of this then. definitely need to increase the volume on those. Where is my compressor? There it is. Okay. So, what? And if you're curious about terminology here, what a compressor does essentially is it doesn't actually make everything else louder. It really doesn't. It makes everything else kind of quieter. So by comparison, gotta level match that. And what I also like to do with hats is the same thing I like to do with some of the claps, which is go back to that infected mushroom, um, plug in, put wider on it. Maybe not as much wider, but that way it kind of way it just kind of, I don't know. It still needs to sound kind of more full in my ears. It's not quite yet there. Um, and I will certainly work on it more and more, mixing and everything. Maybe we'll throw in a little variation here. We'll cut both the basses out a little bit, so that, like I said, variation. Oh, I should probably need to cut some of these. We'll cut the bells. We will cut the bells. All those bells. So. Oh, I didn't actually cut this bass. Whoops. I forgot one bass. And then I gotta. This is the higher kind of. So we can cut that as well then, because that's just sprinkle right now. So. We're still figuring things out as we go. You know how it is. And I think we also might end up having to do 2 hat patterns, one, and they kind of interact with each other. So what I'll do for that is I will kind of copy and paste it down, but I will bring all these down to this hat and then move them up. So it's kind of like a back and forth. Not quite. Hang on. I think it needs to go here. Yeah. Maybe I won't do them eighth note based. I'll just do them quarter note, or excuse me, 16th note. I'll just do them eighth note based. So what you essentially have is, instead of all these 16th notes, you got something a little bit more simple, and then it develops into 16th notes. Not like a different 16th note pattern. So I think, because what I'll end up doing is it'll just be kind of straight 16th notes, and then that's what we just kind of what we call the tag of it. only because it's the same section repeated, and then there's a few different elements, but it's essentially the same thing. So let's once again go back through what we just did, which was down to the first one and then move it up. So and again, all of this is stuff that's like subject to change. So the final product may not even have hats like this, and may be completely different, and that's at my discretion, and I will add later stuff. Oops, I don't even know what the heck that was. Actually, it's just gonna be these two, and then you know what? Let's just make it easier on ourselves. Because it's kind of hard coming up with like complex patterns that aren't like exact. First of all, I'll come up with a pattern and it just sounds like a trap song, or I'll come up with a pattern and it just sounds like the exact same thing, and it's like it's an inverse of itself or something. It's harder than it looks. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to then make all these 16th notes. So much stuff going on, and that was a nice little glimpse as to what it would sound like if all of these were eighth notes, which I didn't necessarily like. You also have to go back in and randomize the velocity so that it's not super repetitive, like I mentioned before, way back at the beginning. Oops, that's wrong. I put 1,000 instead of 100. I want it to be 100. And then essentially, I think what we'll do is we'll get to the hats like a lot way later on. But for right now, we're about an hour and a half in. We'll call it a night here. And then if you tuned in, and if you're still tuned in, thank you very much for tuning in for this long. If you have any questions about music production or anything went on the stream, please do not hesitate to ask me. Hit me up on social media so you can see what's happening in the next stream. I got plenty of other videos on YouTube for you guys to check out. And hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you like the stream as well. Let me know how I'm doing, essentially. I always want to hear from you guys, and I always want to hear what you guys think. So we're going to make the last few edits here. And I think that's what we'll do is we'll just I'll play this one more time, and then we'll just call it a night. So once again, thank you guys all for tuning in. Let me know what you think, and I'd love to hear from you guys at some point. But until next time, here is the beginning of, at least, proper introduction.